Hi guys, I just want to get on here a little bit tonight and talk to you a little bit about forgiveness and kind of what that looks like, and whose job and whose responsibility it is to fix things after betrayal. So after betrayal in my marriage, I mean, a lot of you guys know that my marriage has been in crisis for a while. We've been separated for 9 months, and so that's kind of been a little bit of a challenge. But the initial betrayal I found out about happened a little over 6 years ago, and that was taking place behind my back. So for quite a few years, and so when I found out about it, obviously it was kind of devastating. But so for a long time, because my husband, he's the one who did the betrayal, I expected him to be the one to fix it, and so I kind of put a lot of pressure, not only for him to fix the things that he broke, but also just me waiting on him to do those things in the manner that I thought he should be doing it in. And of course, when you expect someone to do something like that, they're going to fail because it's based on your expectation instead of reality. And so so it is their responsibility to figure out ways to earn back trust, and it's their responsibility to prove to you that they're a changed person, that they're different than they were before. But they cannot fix the brokenness within you. And oftentimes our brokenness is not just the betrayal, if that's something you're going through. It's not just the betrayal. It's not just the offense, right? Usually there's a lot of other things that are connected to it. And so they cannot fix your brokenness, and they cannot fix your brokenness regardless of whether or not they are the ones that caused a lot of it, right? So the responsibility to fix that, it falls on you, and no matter how much you want them to fix it, they just can't. They don't have the ability, they don't have the capacity. They're going to be unable to fix the things in you that need to be fixed, especially when it comes to those other things that are connected to all the brokenness that you're feeling inside. And so unfortunately that responsibility comes on you. And the only way you can fix that is by going and taking a deep dive with God. I want to share something that I went through the other day. I met with two people, and they just kept pointing me back to Jesus. And one of the people I met with, he just kept pointing back to the headship of Christ. And I know it sounds so simple to say, right? Oh yeah, go pray to God, right? We all say that, we all do it, but the amount of taking things to Jesus that you need to do, it's so much deeper than what words can speak. And if you want true healing in something, you have to be willing to go through the process with God. You got to be willing to do the work. So I want to tell you the other day that when this guy, he told me to keep going to the headship to Christ, right? Like there's an order, and God is, there's Christ and then there's us. And so he just kept pointing to the headship of Christ. We need to go there as individuals, but also in our marriage, right? So he kept pointing back. No matter what he shared with me, he kept pointing back to that. And I got to tell you, when I left that meeting with him, I just did not have the faith that anything would change. But he told me, he said, you just got to ask God what he wants. And so I, out of discipline, not out of faith, I wrote down on my tablet, I said, God, what do you want me to do? And so I left shortly after that to go home. And on my way home, God brought something to my mind that I have not thought about in a really long time. It was an offense my husband did, of course. And I just got this anger over me that I haven't felt in years. I'm not, for a lot of people that know me, I'm not an angry person. I get over things really quickly. I'm very forgiving. I forget about most things that happen. I kind of like to resolve things quickly, and I like to move on. And I just, my day starts off very enthusiastically. I'm always pretty bubbly. So, for me to be so angry about this thing, to a point, where I recognized it as unforgiveness. Now, I have to tell you a side note here. A couple weeks ago, we were doing marriage coaching, and a couple weeks ago, we were going over forgiveness and marriage coaching. And I said, so you think that we have unforgiveness? He's like, oh yeah, I think you have a lot of unforgiveness. And to me, I know this sounds so silly, but inside I was kind of wrestling with that because I'm like, well, wait a second, I'm the one that forgives. Like I forgive quickly, I don't have a ton of unforgiveness. But so this thing, I was so angry about it, I knew right then it was unforgiveness. And I've been noticing my unforgiveness since then. And so I decided I would not through faith, because like I said, I know I don't want to sound bad. It's not that I don't have faith that God can work miracles, because I do. I know He can. But things have been so chaotic in my life over the last couple years. I just, what I have seen over and over again is that there's not going to be anything that will change, and I have been changing, and sometimes it feels like I'm the only one doing the work. So I asked God, what should I do? Because someone told me to do it, and I figured if I'm going to go get advice, I'm going to take it. I'm not going to act like it's worthless because I need help, right? So I asked God what I should do. And I was just really angry, and I recognized it as unforgiveness. And you know what? In my anger, I wrote down everything I was feeling as I was feeling it. And I wrote down every word that came in my mind that represented hate and that represented anger for me. Any negative things or disrespectful things or any hate I had towards my husband for this thing, I wrote it down, and I was honest to God about it, because God already knows where we're at. He knows exactly. He knew about this before I did. That's why He brought it up, right? So I just kept writing it down, and I said, God, I don't want to let that go. And you know what, God, I don't even know if I can let it go. I'm so angry, and my husband is this, my husband is that. I was just so angry about it the whole time. And I just sat with that. Just sat with it for a while, and then a few minutes later, God brought something else to my mind. He brought my own mother to my head, and He brought his mother. He brought my stepmother and all the pain I have from these people that are in my life that didn't live up to the expectations that I had for them. They were supposed to play a role in my life the way I wanted them to, and they didn't fill that the way I needed, the way I wanted them to. I was angry about that, and I was angry about the man that was in my life before my husband, because I was with him for 3 years. We had a son together, and he abandoned us. And I was angry about that. And none of this would have happened. None of this would have happened had my parents made me feel like I was loved growing up. But I've always struggled with rejection. I always felt unloved, like a burden growing up. And so I just pinpointed all these hurts. And I realized that I had taken all these things from all these people that had hurt me, my life. And when I got married to my husband, I put them on him. All these offenses from everybody, I put them on my husband. And I said, you fix this. You fix this. You pay for everyone else's offenses because I need you to, because I need to feel loved. And I need you to fix these things for me. Like, I didn't say that verbally, right? But this is what I'm realizing through prayer, and realizing through this little powwow I'm having with God, dealing and processing this unforgiveness I have towards my husband. And my anger, after realizing all these things and all these offenses I have from other people, my anger softens to sadness. Now I feel sad. As soon as I feel sad, I know I'm going to be okay, because in anger, you feel like everything's so impossible. You don't even know how you can forgive somebody, but sadness is like the first glimpse of hope, because when you feel sad, grace comes right after that. After that, I felt grace. And I started understanding that all these people in my life, that I needed them to feel something in me. None of them could do it to the capacity that I needed them to, because they were also trying to fill a void. And everybody was failing them as well, right? It's not just me. It's everybody else is experiencing the same thing that I am experiencing. And I just ended up having so much grace for them. And I just realized I had my husband, he just didn't have the capacity And you know what? He did promise to do these things. He promised to love me. He promised to take care of me. And he promised to, you know, be a good dad to my son. And he promised to fix it all. And he put that expectation on himself too. But he never had the capacity to fill it, because it's just not that simple, because we didn't realize how big all this was. And I'm not at all saying that I'm taking responsibility for any of his choices, because I'm not. He's responsible for everything he has done. So I won't bear that. But now I understand the thing I was holding over him, the thing I was so angry about, it after going through all these layers, after figuring out where the roots were, I understood that at the end of the day, I was literally just making my husband pay for someone else's offenses. And I was a little nervous. Like I said, I was writing this stuff down as I was feeling it, and I was nervous to read it all again, because I wanted to see what pattern I was displaying, and I wanted to see all the feelings I was feeling. And so I wrote it all down while I was doing it, and I was nervous to go back and read it. But before I read it, after I felt sadness, and after God showed me all these ways where I had felt like people had hurt me, and after he showed me that I'd put all this stuff on my husband, I felt complete peace. And it can only be peace because, you know, sometimes peace feels light, okay? But this to me felt like something had been finished, okay? And the peace was very heavy. It was heavy to me. And I just sat there, and I just tried to let this peace permeate my soul for a while, because I didn't want any of that resentment and unforgiveness to take root again. And then, you know, after spending a little bit of time just resting in God's peace and just thanking him for it, I went back and I just had read everything I wrote, and I went over all the hurts that I was feeling, and I went over all the hateful things I had said about my husband, and all the things I thought about him, and I read through it, and there was nothing. There was nothing. There was no anger. I thought there might be, and it was just completely resolved. And so I want to encourage you today that if you are at a place in your marriage or any of your relationships right now where you're in turmoil, maybe you're hurting, you've got people have hurt you, they have offenses against you, you want them to fix it. They can't fix it. The only one that can fix it is you and Jesus. Those are the only ones that can fix it, because no one can heal your brokenness, which is deeper than your husband's offense. It's deeper than your mom's offense. It's deeper than your ex's offense. It's all your hurt is just linked to so many other things, and there's not one person that can fix that except for Jesus Christ. He's the one that can fix it. So I just want to encourage you today that if you seek God, that's where your healing's gonna come from. That's where you're gonna find wholeness. Okay, it's not just wishing, waiting, and hoping for someone to figure it out, and no one's gonna be able to make all your problems go away. And by the way, going through this, it doesn't solve everything, but I want to encourage you that if you feel an anger towards somebody, if you can recognize unforgiveness, you can recognize bitterness, or you can recognize resentment, that's when you need to take the time, and you need to sit down, and you need to go through it. And telling you God is so faithful to you, you do not have to be faithful to him. He is faithful to you. You just have to be self-disciplined. Just discipline yourself to go do what you need to do. Just go do it. And you know what? Say the things that come to your head. God's not surprised. He's not surprised. He knows you feel that way, and he knows what that feeling is. He knows what that feeling feels like. Okay? Anyway, I hope this encourages you guys. I'll talk to you later.